Ladies and gentlemen, back to the channel. Today we've got another UFC preview and predictions. The main event this weekend is Alistair Overeem and Alexander Volkov. It is the next step on the final run to the championship for Alistair Overeem, and then for Alexander Volkov, man, a win here can put you in a really good position in the top 5 of the heavyweight division. Also, the co-main event, some could argue, should be the main event, or should definitely be 5 rounds. Corey Sandhagen and Frankie Edgar, 2 top 5 bantamweights, with the winner of this fight, man, potentially next in line to take on the winner of Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling. So we've got a really good 14 fight card, and let's get it started. But folks, if you have not yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for more UFC here on the channel. So we're starting it off with a catchweight fight at 140 pounds between the Picasso of MMA, Odi Osbourne, and Denis Bondar. It is a good one on short notice too. Relatively, it was like a week ago they did schedule this fight. Let's start here with the UFC newcomer in Denis Bondar. So Bondar's last couple fights were overseas, over in Ukraine, and he got a couple wins there. He's currently on a big winning streak. His last loss was in 2016. And what do you need to know about Bondar? Well, he's a very good jiu-jitsu guy, very good on the ground, but also can get the job done on the feet. But more recently, it has been the submissions that have won Bondar fights. And if you remember what Odi Osbourne's last fight was, it was on UFC 246. Fought Brian Kelleher, which is not an easy first fight in the UFC, but he lost to Kelleher, got submitted by a guillotine in the first round. So that's something you got to look out for in this fight, because Bondar has some really good subs. He's got a real nice arm triangle and a rear naked choke too. He can take back pretty easily, get there, put in that submission hold. Current record for Denis Bondar of 8-3. He's been fighting a lot recently. In 2019 I'm talking about, but in 2020 only 1 fight. 2019 about 5. So really active 2 years ago. Last year, of course, only that 1 fight. So yeah, that's Denis Bondar, again on a big winning streak right now, on a big about 8 fight winning streak currently. But he takes on the Picasso of MMA, the Jamaican sensation in Odi Osbourne. So yeah, if you remember the first Odi Osbourne fight in the UFC, of course it was the Brian Kelleher fight. They were hyping up Odi Osbourne a lot going into that one. He just came off a win over on the Contender Series. He was actually a favorite in that fight against Brian Kelleher on the main card of a Conor McGregor card. And I know we haven't talked about the Conor-Dustin Poirier fight yet. I mean, what can I say? Dustin Poirier, I think, is the best 155-pounder other than Khabib Nurmagomedov right now. And I'm really not interested in the trilogy, but we can talk about that later. I think Poirier should just be given the title, but who knows? And again, I don't think Conor's that bad at all. I think he just ran into the wrong guy. Conor is still a top 5 lightweight. But back to Odi Osbourne, right? Osbourne on that card, they're hyping him up. A lot of video packages before his fight. And during his interview on the pay-per-view card, of course this was pre-recorded, but they aired it on the pay-per-view, Odi Osbourne says, I've mentioned this multiple times, in a couple years you're gonna be like, wow, Conor McGregor fought on the Odi Osbourne card. And yes sir, the Picasso of MMA, Odi Osbourne, did lose that fight to Brian Kelleher. It was a pretty good win for Kelleher, got the job done in what, 2 minutes in the first round. But for Odi Osbourne, right, he comes in the UFC on a big 4-fight winning streak, a lot of wins on the ground as well. Of course, not bad power, but for the most part, Odi Osbourne is a jiu-jitsu guy, and it was kind of tough for him losing that fight to Kelleher, and he got subbed in that fight as well. So that's what kind of concerns me for Odi Osbourne taking on Bondar in this one, because 2 guys who are very good on the ground, but we saw in the Odi Osbourne fight against Brian Kelleher, he can get submitted. And for Bondar, again, he got submitted in 2016, but again, a long time ago. It should be a good fight on the ground. I don't expect it to take place. I mean, I think it'll be on the feet a little bit, but I think for the most part, we will see this fight on the ground. We should get some really good scrambles this one, some really good groundwork. And it's basically, do you think that Odi Osbourne can avoid the submissions, and do you think he can keep control and look for submissions of his own? I mean, that's every grappling fight, honestly, but it's just that simple. Who's going to win the fight on the ground? I'm going with the Picasso of MMA, not just because his nickname is the Picasso of MMA, but I really think Odi Osbourne's going to make the adjustments from his last fight. And again, it was Brian Kelleher, and I know he was a favorite in the Kelleher fight, but Kelleher has fought a lot of big names so far in the UFC. I mean, what, he just fought Cody Stamann, coming off a win over Ray Rodriguez. Kelleher fights a lot. He's fighting Ricky Simone next week. I mean, he's fighting the top guys in the weight class, and Odi Osbourne just got caught in a guillotine in his first fight, and I think Osbourne will be able to win. I'll go by decision. I don't think he'll be able to submit Bondar, but I think he'll be able to edge out a victory. So next up at featherweight, we have got Youssef Zalal taking on Sung Woo Choi. Let's start here with Sung Woo Choi. So his last fight did get a win over in December of 2019 on the Edgar Zombie card over in South Korea against Stamann Mokhtarian. He won that fight by unanimous decision. Before that, lost a fight by submission to Gavin Tucker, and before that to Movsar Evloev by decision as well. And that's been the UFC run so far for Sungwoo Choi. Of course, before that, he did come from South Korea. He fought a lot of fights over there. He's the former top fighting champion, of course, in Korea. And an overall record for Sungwoo Choi of 8 wins and 3 losses. Choi, a very good striker. I mean, the wins that he's had so far in the UFC, again, it's only one to Stamann Mokhtarian, but it's a pretty dominant decision. The other fights, Gavin Tucker, again, ran into the wrong dude, and Movsar Evloev, again, another just pure monster in the octagon. The way he beat Nick Lentz by split decision, by the way, come on. How do you judge that fight for Nick Lentz? I don't get it. But yeah, Sungwoo Choi ran into Evloev and Gavin Tucker, 2 very tough fighters, and then the Stamann Mokhtarian win, a good win for him as well. What we've seen outside of the UFC, a lot of power. Sungwoo Choi can really put some power behind his punches and put guys out. We haven't seen it yet in the UFC, but again, the competition in the UFC has been pretty high for Choi. Overall record so far for Choi of 8 wins and 3 losses, looking to go 2-2 with the win against Zalal in the UFC. So Youssef Zalal's last fight was unsuccessful for him. He's riding a big winning streak going into the Ilia Topuria fight. Just lost that one on Marques Sandhagen over in Abu Dhabi. And then before that was Youssef Zalal's big start in the UFC. He picks up one against Austin Lingo in UFC 247, beats Jordan Griffin by unanimous decision, and then beats Peter Barrett pretty badly by unanimous decision on Lewis and Olenek. And then, of course, really quick turnaround for him. Takes the Topuria fight. He loses it. Finishes out the year, though, 3-1 in his first year in the UFC. A pretty good first year in the UFC. For Zalal, before the UFC run, did fight in LFA. Fought pretty well over there. Yeah, for the most part, Youssef Zalal has been very good so far in the UFC. Again, his striking's been pretty damn good. His grappling's been good as well. The Topuria fight, he just kind of got outpowered in that fight. Ilia Topuria just kind of took the fight wherever he wanted it in that one, controlled the fight pretty much everywhere. And yeah, I mean, Zalal, I do believe, was a favorite going into that fight. Again, trying to go 4-0 in that one. And yeah, he's he's a minus 160. Again, not a big favorite, but still, he was the favorite going into that one. He did get upset by Topuria, but still carries a record of 10-3 going into this fight with Sungwoo Choi. Youssef Zalal, again, his grappling's pretty good. We don't see it too often. I mean, we do, but we see the grappling and striking. Again, Zalal, a very good, well-balanced fighter, but Sungwoo Choi has been submitted before in the UFC, and of course, that was against Gavin Tucker, and it was in 2019, but still, Gavin Tucker, a really good UFC fighter as well, known for getting his submission wins. But if Zalal can get Sungwoo Choi to the mat, that could be a spot where Zalal can definitely win. And again, the stand-up, I would expect fireworks on the feet. This is going to be a very good fight standing. And on the ground, I still think it's pretty well balanced, but I think Zalal, you got to give the advantage to him down there as well. I think you kind of have to. Pretty obviously, you give the advantage to Zalal on the ground. I mean, I don't know if Zalal's going to necessarily win the fight on the ground, but I think he's going to win this one. All around, man, Zalal, a very well-balanced fighter. I think he can be able to take this fight on the ground if he needs to, if he wants to keep it standing. I think if he just avoids the power of Sungwoo Choi, he's probably going to win this one. So I'm going to go with another decision win here for Youssef Zalal. Going to start off 2021 with a win. Next up, we have got Meatball Molly McCann taking on Laura Procopio. So let's start here with Laura Procopio. Our last fight was against Carol Rosa. Back in 2019, a long time ago, it was at bantamweight. This fight with Molly McCann is at flyweight. And she lost a split decision fight to Carol Rosa. Of course, it was her first fight in the UFC. She was coming over from Shuto. She was the former Shuto flyweight champion. And she goes up in the UFC and takes a fight at bantamweight. But yeah, she was going to the UFC, 6-0 record, runs into Carol Rosa, which is a tough fight, loses that fight by split decision. She's supposed to fight Courtney Casey in May of last year, but of course, everything happened, right? And she hasn't had a fight since. Now she's finally getting the Molly McCann fight. Well, for Procopio, it's pretty simple how she's got to win this fight. She's got to get it to the ground. We've seen how good Molly McCann's striking has been in the past, and we've seen that Molly McCann can be submitted at times, and we saw in the Talia Santos fight, if you take her down, you can keep her down there, you're going to have a good chance to win the fight. And the Jillian Robertson fight, first fight in the UFC for Molly McCann, she did lose that one by her naked choke. But yeah, for Laura Procopio, it's the ground game. This is how you have to win this fight. We've seen in the past, she's pretty good on the ground. If she can get Molly McCann on the ground, I'm thinking she's probably gonna be able to win this one, but the problem is, can she get her down, and can she avoid the striking of Molly McCann? That's the issue. So let's talk about Meatball Molly. So yeah, Molly McCann, her last fight, ran into Talia Santos, and man, I was big on Molly McCann going into that fight. I mean, it was kind of more that Talia Santos, her opponents going into that fight were just like terrible. She was fighting fighters who were like 0-16 and whatnot. And I thought Molly McCann was just going to run right over Talia Santos. I honestly thought she was probably going to knock her out. Fight didn't end up that way. We saw Talia Santos put on a pretty dominant performance in that one. And then after that, she just dominates Jillian Robertson on the ground too. Insane. But yeah, for Molly McCann, right, last fight against Santos was not great. Comes in the UFC, loses to Jillian Robertson, then picks up a couple wins over the likes of Priscilla Cachoeira, of course, Mario Yamasaki. Apparently he's coming back to officiate again. Yamasaki's back. I don't think he's coming back to the UFC. Oh, he better not. If Yamasaki was the ref for the Conor Poirier fight, that fight would have been going on for 5 more rounds. It would have seen a 6th round. But for Molly McCann, right, she beats Priscilla Cachoeira, and then she beats Ariana Lipski, and then of course she wins another fight, but then drops the Talia Santos fight, and that's where we really have to go to that. Again, she got dominated on the ground in that fight, and on the feet as well. And we've seen Talia Santos recently. She's a very well-balanced fighter, but that's where McCann can lose this one. If she can get taken down and Laura can keep her down there and potentially looking for a submission here, or honestly just keep Molly McCann on the ground, she's gonna win this fight. But the problem is, again, Molly McCann's striking is pretty good, and again, Molly McCann, kind of a brawler. She's going to come out there and she's going to swing, and she's going to try to put her opponent down. She's the former Cage Warriors flyweight champion as well, and I think Molly McCann will probably win this one. I think she will, though. I think her striking is going to be a little bit too much. Again, if she gets taken down, she'll probably lose, but I'm banking on the fact Molly McCann can stuff a couple takedowns in this one, keep this fight standing, avoid the clinch, and just work on her feet and just kind of out-volume Laura Procopio in this one. I think she'll be able to get the job done here, so I'm gonna go with the Molly McCann decision win. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets the KO on this one, but I think she'll win this one by decision. Volume striking in this one. So next up, we've got another women's bantamweight fight, and we've got Karol Rosa taking on Jocelyn Edwards. And Jocelyn Edwards just coming off a big win over Wu Yannan over on UFC on ABC 1. We'll start off with Jocelyn Edwards in this fight here. And Jocelyn Edwards looked pretty good in the Wu Yannan fight. Control on the feet, really showed off her striking. And of course, when she came into the UFC with a lot of KO wins, a lot of big power knockouts. And the Wu Yannan fight, she couldn't put her away, but I mean, Jocelyn Edwards was controlling pretty much that entire fight. It was just her fight. She was beating up on Wu Yannan, and it wasn't really a close decision. And now she's taking this fight on 3 weeks notice, or on 2 weeks notice, 3-week turnaround against a pretty good fighter in Karol Rosa. What I have to say about Jocelyn Edwards, pretty much the same things I said going into the Wu Yannan fight. Again, if she can get to her opponent with power, she'll probably win the fight. If she can keep this fight standing, she's gonna win. Her reach is pretty damn good. She's 5'8", she's got a 70-inch reach. Pretty good for 135, and a current record for Jocelyn Edwards of 10-2. Her losses: Sarah Alpar for the LFA Bantamweight Championship. She lost that one by split decision in November of 2018. Then her other loss, 2015 on September the 11th. Back then, a long time ago. And yeah, a lot of knockout victories for Jocelyn Edwards. Do I think she'll be able to knock out Karol Rosa in this one? It's going to be tough, but if she's going to have a chance to win this one, or if she's going to want her best chance to win in this one, she's got to put the striking on Karol Rosa, and she's got to show off more of the power. She wasn't able to put away Wu Yannan, but we kind of knew where that fight was going in the entire stretch of the fight. But to put away Karol Rosa is going to be tough, because Karol Rosa can stand there for 3 rounds, and we know she can keep bringing it for 3 rounds. We saw that in the Vanessa Mella fight, and we've seen that in the Laura Procopio fight as well. So, Jocelyn Edwards, one more time, it's got to be the power that's going to win her this one. If she can keep it standing, keep using her reach to her advantage, she'll have a good chance to win. But I'm kind of skeptical on her ground game. And I think that's where Karol Rosa has to win this fight. She's got to take Jocelyn Edwards down. I'm not saying that Jocelyn Edwards is the best striker in the weight class, but she's a very good striker. And I know that she couldn't put away Wu Yannan, and it's going to be tough to put away Karol Rosa, but still, I think if Rosa's going to want her best chance of winning this one, it's got to be on the ground. We've seen it before. She is able to get submissions from the top and from the bottom as well, mostly from the top. But Karol Rosa, very good offensive grappler, if you know what I mean, right? She can get fights to the ground. She doesn't do it often, but when she does, she's very good at getting fights to the ground and keeping them on the ground. I think that's what she has to do. She has to test the ground game of Jocelyn Edwards, because Edwards' ground game really hasn't been challenged too much so far in her career, and I think that's where Rosa's got to go. Again, really good jiu-jitsu fighter. Her striking is good as well, and yeah, she can hang with Jocelyn Edwards, and I think definitely if this fight's a stand-up fight, Kara Rosa could definitely get the better of Jocelyn Edwards, but I'm saying her best chance of winning this one is going to be on the ground, because we just haven't seen much out of Jocelyn Edwards, her ground game before. Yes, we've seen her get armbar submissions. I mean, her last win by submission was 2018. She beat Brenda Gonzalez by armbar and KOTC. She won their Bantamweight Championship, but again, Kara Rosa is very good on the ground, very good jiu-jitsu from her. It's just this simple. Can Kara Rosa get the fight to the ground? Can she keep the fight to the ground? Or can Jocelyn Edwards just keep it on the feet, outstrike Kara Rosa, or potentially knock her out and put her away in those 3 rounds? It's a very tough fight to call. I wouldn't say it's one of those clash of styles. I don't really think it is, because Kara Rosa's stand-up game, you would be putting down Kara Rosa's stand-up game if you were to say that, because I think, again, I definitely think she's able to win this one on the feet. But I honestly think it'll be the ground game. That'll be too much for Jocelyn Edwards in this one. Given she just fought 3 weeks ago, and no, she didn't take too much damage in that fight. She controlled Wu Yan'an on the feet for that entire fight. But if Kara Rosa can close the distance in this one, get a takedown or 2, hey, she'll be able to win 2 rounds with 2 takedowns. I feel that confident that Kara Rosa, if she gets 2 takedowns in this fight in 2 separate rounds, she's gonna win the fight. So, again, gotta get it on the ground. Kara Rosa can keep it to the ground. You might be able to look for a submission here. I don't think we're gonna get a submission finish for her. I'm gonna go with the unanimous decision win for Kara Rosa. I know we're going back to this decisions for every fight here, but I think that's really where we're gonna go with this one. Kara Rosa, decision win. Keep it on the ground. Outstrike Jocelyn Edwards at times in this one. Again, though, gotta close the distance. Gotta get inside, work takedowns, and work those short punches as well. So a good fight here at 155 pounds. We've got Devontae Smith coming back and taking on Justin Jaynes. Let's start here with Devontae Smith. So, we got to talk about the last fight. He was not supposed to lose that fight. Kama worthy. It was the fight that kind of made Kama worthy, and then he lost to Atmana Zaitar, and yeah. Atmana Zaitar, what the hell happened to him? Oh, I don't know what happened on Fight Island. He's been released, and I guess we'll see him in another 10 years. Who knows? Maybe he'll show up in Bellator. I don't know. But yeah, Kama worthy, right, beats Devontae Smith. A fight that Smith is supposed to win. I do believe are they training partners? I know they were either training partners at one point in time, right? Kama worthy catches him with the left hook. Boom, puts him down. UFC 241 in Anaheim, California. It's in the first round. It's one of these fights where it's a kind of a showcase fight for Devontae Smith. It is the final fight on the ESPN portion of the card, right? So you're going to the pay-per-view next. This is the fight that's trying to get people hyped to buy the pay-per-view. This fight was higher up on the card than Corey Sandhagen and Rafael Sunsao. Think about that for a second. I know, right? And Kama worthy caught him. Yikes. Devontae Smith looked pretty good before that fight, though. The Julian Rosa fight, beat him by KO. Beat Joe Lowry on the Contender Series, and beat Dong Hyun Ma on UFC 234 as well, all by KO. And that's really all we've seen out of Devontae Smith is KOs, 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 KOs. He's only had 1 submission win. It was a long time ago in 2017. He hasn't gone the distance yet. I mean, his longest fight, other than, yeah, I mean, he's only had 1 fight go past 3 rounds. Absolutely incredible. Devontae Smith, we've seen the power before, and we kind of thought we were going to see that again in the Kama worthy fight, and Kama worthy, yeah, he stole the show in that one. He closed the show, as John Anik always says. And yeah, it was a tough loss for Devontae Smith. Now, can he get back on track? He did not fight in 2020. It has been a long time for Devontae Smith. I kind of feel like Justin Jaynes is the right guy for Smith to come in and fight next. So yeah, let's talk about Justin Jaynes. Devontae Smith, by the way, coming into this fight with a record of 10-2, and he is currently 2-1 in the UFC. So yes, Qatar hero Justin Jaynes. His last fight was a loss to Gabriel Benitez over on Hermanson and Vittori. He did get TKO'd. It was I believe it was a knee to the body, and he put him down. That one did Benitez. That was in December, so three months later, Justin Jaynes is back. In the fight before that, he did lose to Gavin Tucker, got caught by a rear naked choke, but that is what Gavin Tucker does. And then his first fight in the UFC was a win over Frank Camacho. He put him away, TKO in the first round. That was on Blades and Volkov again in the UFC Apex. Justin Jaynes' current record of 16-6. Just a quick side note, he fought in Big John's MMA in 2015, okay? Just want to put that out there. He fought in Bellator in 2014, a long time ago. It was on Bellator 124. It was Emmanuel Newton beating Joey Beltran in the main event with a spinning back fist. What happened to Emmanuel Newton? Another one of these things. What happened to him? like he was on top of the world. He loses to Liam McGeary, loses to Phil Davis. He's out of Bellator, goes to Fight Nights Global, loses to Nikita Krylov. We haven't seen him since. Yikes, man. Yeah, that was... I mean, the Emmanuel Newton story is a crazy one. It is. Again, he wasn't supposed to be Bellator champion as well, but... Again, Justin Jaynes, he won on that Bellator card in Michigan in 2014. The fight that concerns me, though, is the Gabriel Benitez fight. Benitez looked pretty good in that one. He was coming off a pretty big layoff as well, kind of like what Devontae Smith is coming off of right now as well. And it was a body shot, yeah, and we know Devontae Smith is going to be headhunting. That's what he usually does in his fights. He's a sniper in there. He's going to try to put his opponent away. But Jaynes did get outstruck for the 4 minutes that that fight did go. In the Gavin Tucker fight, it's a completely different fight because Gavin Tucker is trying to get every fight he's in to the ground because that's what he does. But the Frank Camacho win for Justin Jaynes was a pretty good win. He did get knocked out in that, or sorry, performance of the night in that one. He won in 40 seconds. It's that simple. Camacho missed weight as well, so Jaynes got 30% of his purse in the process. All right, though, forward prediction in this one. It's a tough fight to call because what Devontae Smith are we getting back from that second loss, but still his first big loss in the UFC? He was on a big winning streak, all the hype in the world. He's a minus 1,100 favorite going into that fight. Absolutely nuts. And he got TKO'd in the first round. Again, what Devontae Smith are we going to get? I do not know, but I think we're going to get a pretty good Devontae Smith in this fight. Now, will he be able to knock him out in this one? Who knows, but I honestly think the striking will be too much. This fight will not hit the mat. I can guarantee you that. It is going to be a stand-up fight. Honestly, though, if Justin Jaynes... Hey, I mean, honestly, though, actually, when you think about it, Justin Jaynes' best shot win this fight is probably taking this one on the ground. Will we get it? I doubt it. But if it's a striking fight, it's going to be a good one. But Devontae Smith's kind of... We've seen him in the past, man. He gets first-round knockouts. And he's usually one of these guys, he'll throw one to take one, and that's what he kind of did in the Kama Worthy fight. But I don't think the power of Justin Jaynes will be able to put away Devontae Smith. I doubt it. I really don't think so. Unless Devontae Smith leaves himself wide open for that big check hook that Kama Worthy did throw at him, I think he's going to be able to fix that. That was in August of 2019. I don't think that same hook's going to be just right there for Justin Jaynes. So I think Smith is going to work on... I think he's worked on those things in camp, and I think he'll be able to put together a pretty good performance in this fight. I'll go knockout. I think Devontae Smith's going to continue his run of all these first-round KOs. I'm going to say he gets another one. I'm going to first-round knockout for Devontae Smith. I hope he gets back on track in this one. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good fight, but I'm going with a big KO win for Devontae Smith. So yeah, an interesting fight here between Timur Valiev and Martin Day. Again, a lot of these fights on this card, short notice replacements, but Day does come in to this fight. We'll start with Martin Day, by the way. He's 0-3 in the UFC. If you count the Contender Series, he's 0-4. And his losses haven't been great. I mean, his first fight in the UFC did lose by split decision over in Beijing, but then the Davey Grant fight, he got KO'd on UFC 251, and then the Anderson Dos Santos fight, he got guillotined in the first round on Smith and Clark in November. And then his fight on the Contender did lose by split decision over in 2017 against Jamie Alvarez. He goes back, he fights 2 fights in Hawaii, wins them both, and he beats Brady Huang. I've talked about this fight before. Good fight for Martin Day. TKO's Brady Huang, another Dana White's Contender Series alum, and he wins the URCC Bantamweight Championship, gets a call to the UFC, and he's 0-3, and he's fighting for his contract in this one, and it's a tough fight because Timur Valiev is very good. We'll get to him in a second here. I was very high on Timur Valiev, but again, we'll get to him in a minute. Martin Day, how does he win this fight? Well, you gotta avoid the grappling of Timur Valiev. We've seen it before. He's great on the ground, but also, like, Valiev's good on the feet, but the Trevin Jones fight, yikes, dude. I don't know about that. I don't know about striking, man. Valiev gassed down in that one. And Martin Day can get this one to say maybe the end of the second round, into the third round. He's got it. Martin Day's got to get out of that first round with Valiev. And it's not like Valiev, it's not like he's a big threat in the first round to put everyone away, but you just got to look at the Trevin Jones fight. It wasn't great for him, man. So yeah, if Day can get this one in the later rounds, I mean, I think that's where he's gonna have his best chance to win in this one. Because we saw Timur just gassed in that fight against Trevin Jones, and he got hit with some big punches. at the end of the second round. So if he can just survive Timur Valiev's grappling and wrestling for the first couple rounds, he might have a good chance, but it's going to be an uphill battle, definitely. So let's talk about Timur Valiev. So yeah, if you remember, I was really big on Timur Valiev. He was supposed to fight Marques Striegel, so that was the first fight we were talking about. I was like, okay, he's going to run right through Marques Striegel, kind of like how Said Nurmagomedov did to Marques Striegel. But I thought that was going to be Timur Valiev. This was just going to go straight through him. Hey, maybe even knock him out, get him on the ground, finish him on the ground. Probably something like that. Didn't happen. Well, of course, because Striegel pulled out the fight, but then he gets Trevin Jones on very short notice. He's a -600 favorite in this fight. Won the first round, starts gas in the second, and gets knocked out. Yikes. Valiev protested the decision, or I mean immediately. It was a good stoppage. But Trevin Jones tested positive for Stephen A. Smith's favorite substance that starts with a W and ends with a D. Don't want to get demonetized. Can you get demonetized for saying that word? I don't know, but whatever. So yeah, Timur Valiev, that fight doesn't count now because Jones got or tested positive for that substance again, so it doesn't really count as record anymore, but it's still a fight that sucks because again, that word that starts with a W and ends with a D, it's like, that doesn't really help you fight. It's not like it's a performance enhancing drug. It's really not. It's one of the dumber rules, honestly, in fighting, that's illegal, but whatever, or for USADA, excuse me. But, so it really doesn't count anymore, but still, the fight with Jones is not good for Timur Valiev. I'm gonna keep it that simple with you, right? But he's coming over from Rosa to fighting PFL. He's winning a bunch of fights, winning them by submission, winning them by decision, winning them by TKO. Very good on the ground, can strike as well, but Timur Valiev, a very good striker, but again, very good wrestler. And yeah, the Jones fight just sticks out, man. Debut in the UFC, you're a big favorite, you lose it. This is the fight, though, he's going to get back on track. He's not losing to Martin Day. I can, like, almost guarantee you this. He's not losing to Martin Day. It's not going to happen. Martin Day's on a 3-fight losing streak. He lost to Anderson Dos Santos, lost to Davey Grant. It's not going to happen. If Martin Day wins this fight with Timur Valiev, I don't know. We might have to look at the talent at PFL, the talent at World Series of Fighting, because Timur Valiev is running right through guys. And I know he lost once to Chris Gutierrez. He got the win right back. Like, what, 8 months later? He got it right back. Valiev was really good at World Series and PFL. I think we're going to see that version of him. I think he'll be able to out-wrestle Martin Day. I think he'll be able to outstrike him. I'm going to go with the third round finish. I'm going to go TKO on the ground for Timur Valiev. I think that's how he gets it done. Yeah, going to TKO finish on the ground for Timur Valiev. Get back on track with this fight. All right, so we've got Mike Slow Rodriguez and Danilo Marques. Let's start with Danilo Marques right away. Again, how this dude's in the UFC, I don't know, but props to you. I mean, I'm not a fighter, so big ups, man. But yeah, he beat Hidias Ibrahimov, and we've talked about the Ibrahimov run in the UFC. It wasn't good. He lost 4 straight fights, and I guess Marques beat him. The problem I have with Marques going into the fight, for one, he hadn't fought in 2 years, and we really hadn't seen him, and like he's fighting just straight cans. His last fight for the UFC, 5-4-1, sure. Before that, 2017, fights fighters 0-16. Like, I mean, come on, dude. The dude's now 0-21. Oh man. And then the reason why I actually picked Ibrahimov to win that one, because Danilo Marques, the one time we saw him fight some really good competition was in LFA against Myron Dennis. He lost the fight by split decision. So I was like, all right, yeah, he's going to get to the UFC. I don't know why he's here. And I thought Ibrahimov was going to turn back the clock to the good old days back in M1. It didn't happen. Danilo Marques beat up Ibrahimov in that fight. He really did. It was a pretty good performance for Danilo Marques. Coming to this fight, the record of 10-2. Again, not much to say about Danilo Marques because we haven't seen much of Danilo Marques other than that Ibrahimov fight. What did we see? Well, we saw a very watered-down version of Hidias Ibrahimov in the octagon. Danilo Marques controlled him on the feet, controlled him grappling every way possible. It was a dominant decision win for Danilo Marques. Before that, there's nothing to talk about before the Ibrahimov fight because the guys he fought were not great. And then if you're going to the Myron Dennis fight in LFA and a main event of an LFA card, that's in 2017. That's 4 years ago now. There's not much to talk about Danilo Marques. In the last 3 years, Danilo Marques has had 1 fight. Yeah. Right? There's just, again, not much to talk about. His opponent, though, Mike Rodriguez, is pretty damn good at fighting. And yeah, he should have won the Ed Herman fight. It was bullcrap that he lost. I picked Ed Herman, and I got it right. I mean, again, for one, really good comeback for Ed Herman. I mean, won the fight with a minute left in the fight, caught him in a Kimura, put him down. Hell, I mean, really good win for Ed Herman, but it was really bad win at the same time because Mike Rodriguez he KO'd him with the body shot. TKO'd him with the body shot, oh, what, a minute before that, the eventual submission for Ed Herman. I know, again, Mike Rodriguez should have won the fight, but again, you kind of have to watch out for Ed Herman, because Ed Herman can pull out submissions just like that, and that's what he did to win the fight. So for Ed Herman, I know he faked the cup shot, but you do what you gotta do, man. I mean, hell, Ed Herman won the fight. Mike Bisping said, hey, man, I can't do a British accent. I'm not gonna try. But Ed Herman, yeah, hey, you're looking very good in there. And Ed Herman just said, yeah, no, I didn't look good in there. And it was kind of true. He was getting dominated for 14 minutes and then just pulled a Kimura out and put Mike Rodriguez. It might have been, I think it was a standing Kimura, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go watch the fight back. But yeah, it was a standing Kimura. Boom, put him down. He was on the ground. Kimura puts him away. That's Mike Rodriguez's last fight. And the fight before that, Marcin Prochnow. We've seen Marcin Prochnow in the UFC. I thought he was going to lose to Khalil Roundtree. Somehow he won the fight. Yeah, Marcin Prochnow on a 3-fight losing streak looks terrible in the Sam Alvey fight. It's terrible in the Mike Rodriguez fight. Beats Khalil Roundtree. Oh, okay. And then Mike Rodriguez before that lost to Da Un Jung. Lost to John Allen, but that fight got overturned because Allen was on PEDs. And then lost to Devin Clark, his first fight in the UFC as well. The Mike Rodriguez run in the UFC hasn't been bad. What do we know about Mike Rodriguez? Mike Slow Rodriguez. He's got power, and that's, I mean, it's going to be enough to beat Danilo Marques. It's that simple. He's going to be able to knock out Danilo Marques in this fight. Again, we don't know much about the chin of Danilo Marques, but yeah, everything kind of points to a Mike Rodriguez finish winning this one. Not completely sure on the odds in this one. I know it will be on the screen probably right now, or if it hasn't yet already passed. Danilo Marques is a plus 190 underdog in this fight. Mike Rodriguez is a minus 245. I'm telling you, this is probably a lock, I would say. Don't make the locks often. And again, I'm not the one betting my hard-earned money on this fight, but if I were gonna bet money on any fight on this card, except for one later on, which is kind of an upset pick, we'll talk about it though, I'm picking Mike Rodriguez. He's gonna win this fight. I wouldn't say necessarily he's gonna knock him out. I wouldn't put a prop on that, but I think he probably will. I'm going with the KO finish for Mike Rodriguez. I'll even say first round. I'm pretty confident in it. So we've got the UFC vets going at it. We've got Michael Johnson and Clay the Carpenter Guida. Clay Guida, though, last couple fights have not been great. Bobby Green fight got dominated. By the way, Bobby Green's fighting Jim Miller next week. Oh my goodness, what a banger that's going to be. I'm pumped for that one. That should be on the main card of the pay-per-view. By the way, that pay-per-view is dismantled, bro. The co-main events, Macy Barbara and Alexa Grasso. Nothing against the two, but that's a co-main event of a pay-per-view. And a lot of people are not high on Kamaru Usman right now. Don't know how that one's going to sell. Yeah, yikes. So, yeah, Clay Guida lost to Bobby Green, lost to Jim Miller. We've talked about the Jim Miller fight before. Could have been a better stoppage, but it's fine. And then Clay Guida's last one was BJ Penn, UFC 237. By the way, can we get help for BJ Penn? I just saw the latest thing that happened with them. Was it a DUI? Oh, my goodness. I just hope BJ Penn gets some damn help. Yeah, I just hope he gets help. But Clay Guida beat BJ Penn over in Rio de Janeiro. Lost to Charles Oliveira. There's nothing against losing that fight. Charles Oliveira was, or it might get a title shot. Who knows? Another thing about the pay-per-view next weekend, they're trying to get a co-main event for that. They are trying desperately. I mean, they try to reach out for Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler because they need a co-main. They might not get one with Weidman and Uriah Hall falling out. Yeah, that pay-per-view. Hey, if there's ever a time when Dana White signed that deal to put the pay-per-views on ESPN+, if there's ever a time when he said when he signed the contract, you know, we can now adjust the prices for the pay-per-views, we can put them down if it's not selling well. If there's ever a time to make a pay-per-view like, Dana, $15, do it. It'll be the most sold pay-per-view in history if you put up $15, I'm telling you. You're gonna make way more money. Actually, you probably won't, but still, $15, do it. And then you can go all FBI on all the houses of the people streaming the fight then. I'll give you $15, Dana. Okay, but back to the Clay Guida situation. So yeah, before the Charles Oliveira fight, beat Joe Lauzon, won a couple fights, right? Runs into Brian Ortega, gets KO'd. UFC 199, Luke Rockhold and Michael Bisping. And Guida's been around for so damn long, bro. UFC debut, UFC 64. That would be UFC Unstoppable. Remember when they named the pay-per-views? Main event, Anderson Silva, Rich Franklin. This is when Anderson Silva takes the title off of Rich Franklin. Co-main is Sean Shirk taking on Ken Flo, Kenny Florian for the UFC Lightweight Championship. Also, John Fitch won a boring decision fight in that one as well. And yeah, Clay Guida was on the undercard of that fight, beating Justin Jaynes. And then it's also, I mean, if you want to go under the Zuffa banner, he won on WEC 23 in August of 2006. Main event, Doug Marshall winning the light heavyweight championship. Yeah, that's when WEC had the upper weight classes. Oh my goodness, we are going back in time with this one, folks. I mean, if you want to go Strikeforce, by the way, his first Strikeforce fight was a win over Josh Thompson in March of 2006, and it was on, get this, Frank Shamrock versus Cesar Gracie. Oh my goodness, in San Jose at the HP Pavilion. Oh, it's the first Strikeforce card ever, just showing you how long Clay Guida's been fighting. And I know I said 2006, but it's all right. Overall record for Clay Guida of 35-20. He's been fighting for forever. I guess we'll talk about the Diego Sanchez fight. If Diego Sanchez is fighting someone for his last fight, I know he's fighting at 170. Clay Guida's looking for a last fight. Can we get to 155? Can we do that last fight? I wouldn't be against it. Or do catchweight 165. I think that'd be the perfect fight for both these guys. Just go out. And maybe this is kind of hinting where I'm going to go on this prediction. But yeah, Guida's been fighting for forever, man. He can get fights done on the ground. He can win by KO as well. I don't know how much of that power is still left in him. He couldn't put away BJ Penn 2 years ago. But yeah, that's Clay Guida. Let's talk about his opponent here, Michael Johnson. Yeah, Johnson's been around for a while too, though. I mean, his first fight in the UFC was in 2010. It was on the Ultimate Fighter season finale for GSP. Josh Koscheck was the final of season 12. He lost to Jonathan Brookings. But again, long time ago, December of 2010, he was in the main event of that card. He was over Damian Maia, Rick Story, Bonner. He lost the main event, of course, though. But yeah, Michael Johnson, been in the UFC for a while. Recently has not been great, but I want to talk about the run that he had after the Darren Elkins fight. So we'll go through it. Beats Dustin Poirier in 2016. Loses to Habib Nurmagomedov. That's the fight where Habib's talking to Dana when he's beating up Michael Johnson. Loses to Justin Gaethje in a tremendous fight, by the way. And then loses to Darren Elkins. Okay. Beats Andre Fili. And a co-main, I do believe he has a co-main, of Gaethje and Vick over in Nebraska. Real quick, James Vick, oh my goodness, his last fight. What the hell with James Vick, dude? Oh my goodness. He loses on ex-MMA. It was horrendous. It was horrendous. He loses to Andre Filo, and yeah, that was bad. Oh my goodness. Don't get me started about the call out at the end. Filo gets called out, and it's just awkward as hell, because, like, I don't want to fight this promotion. He calls out Uncle Dana, and then he gets called out for another fight in ex-MMA. What is going on? I don't know, but James Vick is just, yikes, he should retire. I'm sorry. But Michael Johnson beats Andre Fili by split decision, co-main event of that card. Then he takes another fight against the GOAT, Artem Lobov. He wins that fight by unanimous decision on the co-main of Anthony Smith and Volkan Oezdemir. And he beats Artem Lobov again. For Lobov, 28 men have tried, and only 15 have been successful in fighting Artem Lobov. Or actually, 30 have tried, and only 15 have been successful. Just think about it, man. Absolutely crazy. That's the greatest UFC fighter of all time, the greatest fighter of all time, the greatest bare-knuckle fighter of all time as well. So yeah, Michael Johnson, 2-fight winning streak. Okay, he takes the Josh Emmett fight. This is on UFC Philly ESPN card, prime time, Barbosa Gaethje. Cool, right? Michael Johnson's winning the fight. He's beating Josh Emmett in the third round. A minute left in the fight. He gets caught with a big right edge, just stiff as a board. Michael Johnson's done. Oh my goodness, he was winning the fight too. He's gonna beat Josh Emmett. He's gonna be on a 3-fight winning streak. He's gonna be in the top 10 again. He gets rocked and gets put down, and then he fights Stevie Ray in Singapore, loses. Fights Thiago Moises. Didn't look that great in that fight. I guess he was doing all right in the first round. In the second round, got caught with an Achilles lock by Thiago Moises. Yeah. Gets put away in the second round. Michael Johnson, career record of 19-16 now. Do I think he's going to have enough to beat Clay Guida? I think he will. Because Clay Guida, right, think about it, his last, like, real win, and nothing against BJ Penn, but BJ Penn is not a really, 2019 BJ Penn was not a UFC fighter, not a UFC caliber fighter. His last real win in the UFC, I would say, would be Joe Lazzone in November 2017, Poirier Pettis in Norfolk, Virginia. It's been a while for Guida. He's lost to Bobby Green, lost to Jim Miller. I think Michael Johnson's going to basically, I think he'll just be able to outstrike Clay Guida. I think it'll be a pretty good win for Michael Johnson this one. Don't think it's a finish, but I'll say he wins a decision win in this one. Give it to Mike Johnson. So next up, we have got a really good fight here between two top 15 lightweights in Beneil Dariush and Carlos Diego Ferreira. It's a good one. Both these guys get finishes on the ground, on the feet. Oh my goodness, it is a good one. Let's start here with Carlos Diego Ferreira. Last win, UFC 246, a submission win, a rear naked choke win over PFL fighter now, and Anthony Pettis wins that fight in the second round, gets the job done. I mean, Carlos Diego Ferreira been on a big winning streak ever since that loss to Dustin Poirier in 2015. He has not lost since then. Wins over the likes of Olivier Aubin-Mercier, Jared Gordon, Kyle Nelson, and then of course the Pettis win was huge recently. He's been fighting really damn well so far in the UFC. And now he's on the verge of being in the top 10. I believe he is in the top 10 right now. He's number 10. And then Dariush, I believe, is 13. He's on there. I think he's like 12. Yeah, he's 13 or 12. Both these guys, man, a couple wins away from being in that top 5 of the weight class. And this is a banger. We haven't seen Diego Ferreira since the Anthony Pettis fight, which is unfortunate. But we saw in the Anthony Pettis fight as well. Yeah, Carlos Diego Ferreira's submissions and ground game is very good. But we've seen in the past also, his stand-up game isn't horrible, too. The Kyle Nelson fight, pretty good one there, got a TKO, and same with the Jared Gordon fight as well. But, I mean, Beneil Dariush, oh, his striking is nasty as well. Oh, my goodness, it's such a good fight. Carlos Diego Ferreira coming into this one with the record of 17-2. Again, the Pettis win's his biggest win to date. Obviously, it was on a Conor McGregor main card. It opened up the main card, and he got the job done by rear naked choke. Something Beneil Dariush has got to worry about, but the problem is Dariush does not get submitted often. He's pretty good on the ground. His only submission loss ever is to Michael Chiesa over in 2016. So there's that. On the feet, man, this could go either way. We've seen Beneil Dariush get knocked out before. We've also seen Carlos Diego Ferreira get knocked out before. Again, it was Dustin Poirier, but still, it's a good fight, man. Let's talk about Dariush, though. And the last one was huge for Dariush. It was a win over Scott Holtzman. Got him with the spinning back fist. He did miss weight in that fight, and if he did miss weight, he was going to get a bonus in that one. He was offering that. He picks up the bonus. They'll give it all to Scott Holtzman. It's kind of messed up. You get knocked out, and then you just get the bonus the guy just knocked you out with. Yeah, it didn't happen. Yeah, Dariush has been on a big roll, man. Starting over with that win against Thiago Moises, won that one by unanimous decision, beats Drew Dober, beats a couple more fighters as well, and then gets to the Holtzman fight. Boom, spinning back fist, big win for Beneil Dariush. And then the Alexander Hernandez fight was an interesting fight. He got knocked out in 42 seconds over on Cyborg Kunskaya over in Vegas. Yeah, Alexander Hernandez. That was the Alexander Hernandez we thought we were getting in the Cowboy fight. It didn't happen, and he really hasn't been the same since. I know he beat Chris Grutzmacher, but yeah, I mean, we kind of knew how that fight was going to go. That was a lock of the night. Well, that was a lock if we've ever seen one. I don't think I locked that one, but still, you knew Alexander Hernandez was going to win that one. Dariush, though, just a big roar right now. He's looking pretty damn good on the feet, but also he's been getting submissions as well. The Drew Dober win. Drew Dober's a tough guy to submit. He really is a tough guy to beat in general. Drew Dober's in the top 10 or top 15. That's a good win, man. And the Camacho win, pretty big one as well, but got him with the rear naked choke in the first round. Dariush is on a roll. I don't anticipate him missing weight again. I think he'll get the weight back on track here. Fight could go either way. It really could. I mean, we might see a Dariush knockout in the first. We might see, who knows, you might see Diego Ferreira getting this one on the ground, but Dariush is pretty good off his back as well. He really is. This goes so many ways, because I can see Dariush winning this one on the feet. I can see Carlos Diego Ferreira winning this one on the feet. I can also see Dariush winning this on the ground. Same with Diego Ferreira. This is the toughest fight to call on the entire card, and I'm going with Beneil Dariush. I mean, the striking's better from Beneil Dariush. We've seen him with a lot of damn power recently. He can get hit. We've seen that before in the Dakar close fight. He can get hit. He doesn't really move out the way of punches. He kind of just eats them. He'll eat one and he'll throw one right back. So that is a problem, but I don't think that Carlos Diego Ferreira's power is going to be too much for Dariush. I don't think it's going to. I think Dariush will be, he'll be happy to play that game with Diego Ferreira if he gets into it. He'll take one from Diego Ferreira, load up, boom, throw another one back. We see Dariush, he throws a lot of unorthodox strikes, and I think he'll be able to win this one. I'm going to go with the Dariush. I'm going to go knockout. I think we get a finish in this one. I say we either get a submission or KO finish. Again, though, would not be surprised if Carlos Diego Ferreira wins this one. Both these guys are on big rolls, but I'm going with the Beneil Dariush. I'm going a second round TKO finish for Dariush in this one. So this fight was made today. I'm recording this on Monday night, or really late Monday night. We're about to get into Tuesday morning here, but yeah, Askar is in the UFC now. He's fighting Cody Stamann. Good fight, really good fight. Askar, coming off a couple wins in LFA. I know he lost in HFC early in 2020 in Indiana, but still, Askar has been looking pretty damn good. Of course, fought a lot in LFA, just got a recent win by unanimous decision over there. He's in the main event of an LFA card. But it's a tough first fight. I mean, Cody Stamann, though, like a guy who's been in and out of the top 10, I believe he's in the top 15 right now at bantamweight. This fight will be contested, though, at bantamweight as well. It's a good fight because Askar, right? Recently, man, a lot of good wins for Askar. We can see him, you know, he gets the wins on the ground. He gets them by submission, gets them by KO as well. Very well-balanced fighter. I'm really pumped to see him in the UFC. It's well-deserved. It's a tough first fight in the UFC, though. It really is, because Cody Stamann, again, I can't stress enough. Cody Stamann, really good wrestler, and he's got power too. He's a fantastic, and I mean fantastic wrestler. So that's something Askar's he's got to worry about, obviously. Now, do I think he's gonna want to be on his back in this fight? Definitely not. The main thing for Askar in this fight, he's going to want to keep this fight standing. I know Cody Stamann does have some power, but you don't see it that much in the UFC. He hasn't gotten a KO finish yet. He hasn't gotten a finish yet in the UFC. It's kind of the way Cody Stamann does fight, right? So, Askar, his main way of winning this fight, got to keep this one standing, and he got to throw a lot of volume to beat Cody Stamann. And if you can tire him later in the fight, you won't be able to get back to the wrestling. You got to stuff a couple takedowns. It's that simple. That's how Cody Stamann's been beat before. That's how the draw against Song Yadong, he won that fight, but whatever. That's how he lost to Jerome Rivera, right? But yeah, it's a big ask for Askar, taking this fight on 6 days' notice, 5 days' notice, basically, taking on a top 15 fighter. If he wins this fight, though, you're inserted straight in the top 10, top 15 definitely, maybe even top 10. It's low risk, high reward. I mean, Cody Stamann, not much to gain with a win here. Askar, you've got everything to win in this fight, man. I mean everything. So yeah, that's Askar. I was talking about his opponent, though, and Cody Stamann. And yeah, Cody Stamann's last fight, lost to Jerome Rivera. Wasn't a great fight for him, but let's talk about the Brian Kelleher one, because that was a really good win for Cody Stamann. Obviously, fighting just very recently after, unfortunately, his brother did die. But it was a really good win for Cody Stamann. He beats up Brian Kelleher. I mean, just completely dominates him on the ground. That's what Cody Stamann really just does. Again, I thought he beat Song Yadong. They didn't give him the decision win in that one. He beat Alejandro Perez, a.k.a. Talent Alejandro Perez. One of his two losses in the UFC is to Aljamain Sterling, but that dude's about to fight for the title, Aljamain Sterling, and I cannot tell you how excited I am for Aljo and Purion. That's going to be a banger of a fight. But Cody Stamann's UFC run, right? A lot of wins. Brian Caraway win. He's got a win over Tom Descoy. I've always butchered his name. And then Brian Kelleher as well, and Alejandro Perez. I'm going to say he beat Song Yadong because he did. He should have won that fight. I don't know what the judges were seeing in that one. And yeah, Cody Stamann so far in the UFC, right? Those two losses, Sterling, Rivera, top 10 guy. Sterling could potentially be the champion next. And how does Cody Stamann win this fight? It's pretty simple. He takes him down, kind of like every Cody Stamann fight. He's got a lot of power. He doesn't really use it often. He closes the distance, shoots power doubles, gets his man to the ground, just basically keeps him there. He's really good top control. And does Cody Stamann. Fighting out of Extreme Couture, this is what they do over there. Former Division II wrestler, NCAA. Yeah, he's gonna win this fight. Cody Stamann's gonna win this fight. I like Askar. I think he's gonna have a pretty good UFC run. I'm pumped that he's finally here. It's just not the fight. You're taking a short notice fight against a very dominant wrestler in Cody Stamann, a very powerful guy too. A guy who is a big 135-pounder. It's just not the fight for him, for Askar. I think Stamann's just gonna be able to beat him up here for 3 rounds. I think he's just gonna out-wrestle him for 3 rounds. We're gonna go with the decision win for Cody Stamann. Oh, what a fight at 125. We've got Alexandre Pantoja taking on Manel Kape. It is Kape's UFC debut. Finally, he is here, and this is going to be a good one. Let's start here with Manel Kape, right? So, comes over from Rizin. He just won the Rizin Bantamweight Championship, given it was December 31st, 2019, but he beat Chiasson for the title. He wins the rematch against Kai. He finally gets the job done, and he wins the Bantamweight Championship over there in Rizin, then heads to the UFC. Obviously, he's not fighting at Bantamweight anymore. He's fighting at flyweight. This fight with Pantoja was supposed to happen over on UFC, or no, it was on the fight night. It was Wonderboy and Jeff Neal, and unfortunately got canceled, but we are back here, and this is going to be an amazing fight. And yeah, from now, Kape, he's fought a lot of good fighters over in Ryzen. I mean, you want to go through the names. You got UFC vet Ian McCall. You got Horiguchi. He did lose that fight in the 3rd round, but I mean, losing to Horiguchi is nothing bad at all, right? And then, of course, the win over Chiasson, and then he lost to Chiasson as well over in 2018. The first fight was a split decision loss, and then, of course, he beat him by KO in the 2nd round. I mean, if you think of, like, the 135 division for Ryzen, these are the names you think of. Like, for the 130 to 135, like, weights over there, Ryzen, these are the guys you think of. I mean, I wouldn't say as much Ian McCall, but I mean, definitely Askar and Horiguchi, right? I mean, Horiguchi, former UFC title challenger. I bring it up a lot. I would really like to see Horiguchi back in the UFC. Just won his last fight. He beat Chiasson. How could I forget? He won on on the 31st on the Ryzen New Year's Eve card. Yeah, Horiguchi's the champion again. Can we get that guy to the UFC? Can we get him back? I really want to see Horiguchi back in the UFC. I think it's finally time. Chiasson too. I wouldn't be against it. I really wouldn't. But yeah, Manel Kape beat Chiasson in his last fight in Ryzen. He is a very talented man, and I know you're gonna look at the record, and yeah, he's 4 losses. He lost 3 out of 4 fights at one point in Ryzen, but still, the man is very talented. He's got a very good stand-up game. His submissions aren't bad as well, but it is the stand-up game from Manel Kape that beats opponents. But he takes on a guy who's never been finished in his entire career, in Alexandre Pantoja. And for Pantoja's last fight, I picked him to win. He lost to Askar Askarov, and Askar Askarov's fighting Joseph Benavidez in, I believe, a month now. And again, there's a scenario. If Joseph Benavidez wins that fight, Brandon Moreno beats Figueiredo. Joseph Benavidez is in line for a title shot again, folks. I'm just saying it's out there, but Manel Kape or Alexandre Pantoja can get in that conversation with the win here tonight, right? So, Pantoja loses to Askar Askarov, gets out-wrestled in that fight, gets out-struck in that fight. It's alright, right? It's gonna happen. Askar Askarov is very good. Beats Matt Schnell, knocks Matt Schnell out in the 1st round over in December 19. Loses to Divas and Figueiredo. That's what's going to happen. But Figueiredo could not put away Pantoja. Again, he's never been finished. Think about that. He beats Wilson Heist by TKO. He beats Brandon Moreno. He's about to fight for the title again by unanimous decision over in Santiago, Chile in 2018. That's a couple wins. Loses to Dustin Ortiz. Okay, I mean, I guess it's going to happen. Beats Eric Sheldon in his first fight in the UFC over in Denver, Colorado as well. He fought Juicy Formiga in 2010 in Shuto. I mean, what you gonna say about that, right? There's nothing to it. Pantoja did fight on the Ultimate Fighter as well. He did lose in the semifinals, but in that season, he beat Brandon Moreno again. He was the #1 seed in that. He beat him by Reneau choke, and then he beat Kai Kara France as well. So there's that for Pantoja. He's very talented, man. He's got really good striking. He's got really good grappling as well. He's never been finished. And again, the 5 losses are all by decision. Oh man, this is a tough one. Both these guys throw hard. Both these guys are good on the ground. They're good on the feet. One of the better fights you're ever going to see. Flyweight is one of the better divisions in the UFC right now. I'm so excited to see this fight. It is going to be a good one. And I'm going with Manel Kape to go into the UFC and beat Alexandre Pantoja coming over for Ryzen. I am pumped for this fight. I'm on the train from Manel Kape. He's going to win this one. He's going to enter the top 5 of the flyweight division. And oh my goodness, this dude is 2 wins away, including this win, from a title shot. He's going to come in. He's going to beat Alexandre Pantoja. Is he going to knock him out? No, because Pantoja's not going to get finished. He's going to win by decision. It's going to be a dominant decision win on the feet for Manel Kape. I say he wins this one. 30-27s across the board. No, wait. Chris Lee's going to be a judge. I'll say 30-27, 30-27, 28-29 for Alexandre Pantoja. I don't know. I'm joking. I think, realistically, though, I think Manel Kape wins this one by a unanimous decision. I don't know if he wins 3 rounds, but I think he's going to win this one. I think his striking is going to be too much, so I think he puts him out. Pantoja is very hard to stop. We saw Figueiredo put all of his shots into Pantoja. Couldn't put him away. Same with Askarov. Askarov's more of a wrestler, right? Kind of dominating him on the ground. But still, you can't put away Pantoja. It's very hard to do so. I think Kape is going to go in there. He's going to win a dominant decision win. Get this man in the top 5. I'm so pumped for the future of this division. No matter what, who wins, the flyweight division is one of the better divisions in the UFC. And Manel Kape is going to come in and get the victory. Well, we have got a fight here between Macy Chiasson, the former winner of the Ultimate Fighter at featherweight, taking on Marion Reneau. Let's start here with Macy Chiasson. So her last fight, she beat Shanna Young by unanimous decision over in February 2020. Oh, it was so nice when we had crowds. Well, I guess we do have crowds again, but oh wait, they're going back to Vegas. You just had crowds in Fight Island, and you're going back to Las Vegas in the Apex with the small octagon. I don't understand it, man. I really don't. By the way, when's the Ultimate Fighter happening? Are they starting to film that show? Are we getting Masvidal and Colby for the Ultimate Fighter? If it's not them, I don't know. Like, they're going to make us sit there, and they're going to make us watch an Ultimate Fighter season of Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards. I don't know, it's just random, but that would be boring as hell, I'm not going to lie. Please give me, I don't care who's Colby fighting, who Colby is fighting, put Colby on the damn Ultimate Fighter as a coach. That'd be hilarious. It'd probably be the best ratings they ever pulls. Actually, no, Connor was on the Ultimate Fighter against Uriah Faber. That was a fun season as well. But yeah, back to Macy Chiasson, right? So, another Ultimate Fighter alum. She won the Ultimate Fighter season, a heavy hitters season. I don't believe that did too great ratings, but she beats Penny Kianzad by rear naked choke to win the show. She beats Gina Mazzani her next fight, beats Sarah Morris her next fight, loses to Lena Landsberg, and then beats Shanna Young on Anderson Vukovic too. Yeah, Macy Chiasson, pretty good all-around fighter. I mean, she's got really good striking. The Penny Kianzad fight, she kind of just exploited Kianzad's, she's basically, Kianzad's just not very good on the ground, honestly. I mean, she beat Sijara Eubanks, but still, Chiasson just got her to the ground, finished her on the ground. But the striking is where Macy Chiasson is very good, and that's probably where she's gonna have the best shot at winning this one against Marion Reneau, and I know Reneau's striking is all right as well. Her wrestling's pretty good. And yeah, let's talk about Marion Reneau. So I'm going to get this out of the way. Marion Reneau is 43 years old. Yeah, she's 43. One of the oldest fighters in the UFC. Yeah, she's on 3-fight skid too, so she needs this one to stay in the UFC. I mean, I don't know, maybe she'll get another fight. Who knows? But she loses to Raquel Pennington her last fight. Yana Kunitskaya the fight before that. Kat Zingano the fight before that. Given all three of those fighters are former title challengers, so I mean, there's that, right? Hey, I'm just gonna throw this out randomly. Juliana Pena, I just want to put this out there. She wins her last fight. The reason I bring this up, on my TV, I have UFC, the pay-per-view of Gustafsson and Cormier running in the background. I'm seeing Jessica Ai and Juliana Pena playing in the background, but Juliana Pena is calling out Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes needs to stop ducking Juliana Pena. You heard me right. Stop ducking Juliana Pena. I'm joking. Hey, Juliana Pena versus Aspen Ladd, that'd be fun, right? But on a more realistic note, Marion Reneau's last 3 fights, she did fight 3 title challengers, and given title challengers, Kat Zingano lost in, 30 seconds to Ronda Rousey, Yana Kunitskaya lost in, 3 minutes to Cyborg, and Raquel Pennington took a 5-round beating in Brazil to Amanda Nunes. So, I mean, there's 3 good fighters, man. She also, actually, wait, she beat Sarah McMahon, another former title challenger. She just lost to Juliana Pena, but yeah, Ronda Rousey beat Sarah McMahon in, 3 minutes again. And before that, went over, or actually, we'll go to this fight. She lost to Betchko, or she had a draw against Betchko, another former title challenger. We'll go 3 fights before that. Lost to Holly Holm, a former champion. Before that, beat Jessica Andrade. We're getting 2015 now, but she did beat Jessica Andrade back when Andrade should fight at 135. And hey, she's going to 125. Give me the Jessica Andrade fight against Valentina Shevchenko, or Andrade already beat Kim Kuchagian, but you know what I mean. So, this fight's interesting. Reneau and Macy Chiasson, it's the old guard versus the new guard. It's that simple, really. Marion Reneau, her striking's pretty good, her wrestling's pretty good as well. Macy Chiasson, you can say the same exact thing about. Yeah, I'm just going with the younger fighter in this one. Yeah, I think Macy Chiasson's just a little bit better than Marion Reneau at their points in their careers right now. It's that simple. I think Macy Chiasson, if the fight goes to the ground, I think she'll be able to win that one. Saves the fate, she'll win. So I'm going with the Macy Chiasson. I'll say unanimous decision win this one. I don't get necessarily why this one's higher on the card than Alexandre Pantoja, Manel Kape, but it is. Yeah, we're going Macy Chiasson to win. Oh my goodness. Corey Sandhagen, Frankie the Answer Edgar. What a fight in the co-main event. I'm so pissed this is not 5 rounds, but whatever. It is happening. Sandhagen and Edgar. It is a good one. Let's start here with Frankie Edgar. So, last win in the UFC, the Pedro Munoz win. A very good win for Frankie Edgar. A good 5-round fight. He got the job done. He was taking some shots in that fight. Took a lot of leg kicks from Pedro Munoz, but stayed in the fight and won the fight by split decision. A lot of people thought Pedro Munoz won the fight. I thought Frankie Edgar did enough to get the job done. All right. Before that, again, that was his only fight at bantamweight so far. We can talk about his featherweight run. I'll talk about it really quickly. Chiasson lost. Okay, he took that fight on legit 5 days notice. He flew over to South Korea in 5 days, took the fight, lost. Before that, lost to Max Holloway for the title, beat Cub Swanson to get the title shot, lost to Brian Ortega, even though he was supposed to fight Max Holloway anyway that weekend for the title, and then Brian Ortega steps in, knocks out Frankie Edgar, the only time Edgar's been stopped other than the zombie at this point now. And then Edgar before that, I mean, beat Yair Rodriguez, beat Jeremy Stephens, lost to Aldo for the title, and then we're going into and we're going to 2015 before that when he beat Chad Mendes, right? So, Edgar's been fighting for a while. We know the story of Frankie Edgar. Comes in the UFC, beats BJ Penn for the title, beats him twice. Then he gets into the trilogy with Gray Maynard, has a draw with him for the first time, or the second time, right? Beats him the third time, loses the belt to Benson Henderson. Lose the first fight. I thought he lost the first fight. I thought he won the second fight, but hey, whatever. And then he loses to Aldo for the championship as well, for the featherweight championship. Beats Charles Oliveira, beats BJ Penn, and we're back to the Chad Mendes fight. Basically, becomes Swanson and Uriah Faber. All right, I just went through his entire run, really. Frankie Edgar, what do we know? Good wrestler, a lot of cardio, and decent striker. Now, this is where it hurts Frankie Edgar. If this was a 5-round fight, Frankie Edgar would be in a pretty good spot. It's a 3-round fight. Edgar is known for the cardio. He is known for lasting 5 rounds, and he is known for out-grinding guys on the feet and on the ground. A 3-round fight is tough for Frankie Edgar. I believe this is the first 3-round fight for Frankie Edgar since, or no, it was the Swanson fight, but I was gonna talk about the Ortega fight where he gets KO'd in the first round, where guys know, I don't gotta fight this guy for 5 rounds. I only gotta fight him for 3. And that's huge for Sandhagen. It really is. You don't have to prepare for 5 rounds with Frankie Edgar because we know Edgar's gonna bring in a 5-round fight. But in a 3-round fight, you can throw all you got in those first 3 rounds and hopefully you can get him out of there. Or you only gotta win the first 2 and you win the fight against Edgar. Yeah, I mean, how does Frankie Edgar win this one? He's got to take Sandhagen down this one. I really think he's got to, okay, obviously, right? Because Sandhagen, we've seen the striking, the Marques win, the spinning wheel kick. Yeah, really good one for Sandhagen there. But if Edgar can get him down, now, he's not going to do what Aljamain Sterling did, because Sterling, he took his back immediately, and that's his thing, it's the human backpack, right? But if Edgar can pressure Sandhagen against the fence, work a couple takedowns, get him down the ground, keep him there, out-grind him on the ground, outwork him in transitions, I think Edgar's got a really good chance to win this one. I know Edgar is a huge underdog in this one. I believe he's the biggest underdog on this entire card, which is ridiculous because it's Frankie Edgar. Edgar's like a plus 400. Like, it's absolutely insane. We'll have it on the screen. But he's an absolute, like, he's the biggest underdog on this card. Or one of the biggest underdogs on this card, right? It's not a bad fight at all for him. It's really not a bad fight for him. Because I think, honestly, people underrate Edgar because he lost to Brian Ortega, because he lost to Zombie and Holloway. Those are the 3 top guys at featherweight if we're not talking about Zabit and Alexander Volkanovski. Those are the top guys, man. And now at 135, he beats Pedro Munoz in his first fight. Like, I think Edgar's really damn good still, man. I think he is. But let's talk about his opponent, though. Corey Sandhagen. And yes, Sandhagen's last fight, I mean, dominant striking performance because Marlon Moraes. Say what you want about Marlon Moraes now after the loss to Rob Font. Is his chin gone? Fortunately, I would kind of say it is, which really sucks. Marlon Moraes, one of those guys, man, just kind of came in the UFC at the wrong time. I mean, I know he got the title shot, but if he came a little bit earlier when he was early in his World Series of Fighting Championship run, he probably could have done a lot better. But still, hey, Moraes, still a top 5, or not top 5, but still top 8 guy in the UFC. He'll bounce back. But yeah, Sandhagen beats Marlon Moraes, spinning wheel kick, tremendous finish. Barely grazes him over the top of the head, puts him down, tremendous finish. The Aljo fight, I talked about it before. Aljamain Sterling is the best jiu-jitsu guy in the weight class, and it's pretty obvious, I feel like. Sandhagen just, man, Aljo took his back immediately. Tremendous win for Aljamain Sterling. That's all I can say, right? Before that, for Sandhagen, he beats the Sun Sal, Lineker, Mario Batista, Alcantara, right? I mean, it's just good wins for Corey Sandhagen. Okay, the big thing in this fight, though, Corey Sandhagen is 5'11". Frankie Edgar is, yeah, he's 5'6". It's gonna look weird. And when I noticed this, okay, random thing, I noticed this like 2 months ago. Going on the UFC 4 in the online, I'm playing as Frankie Edgar. I like playing as Frankie Edgar, honestly, for the bantamweight division if I'm not playing with Aljo, right? So I'm playing as Frankie Edgar, running to Corey Sandhagen, a guy who's using Corey Sandhagen, and holy crap, that was a tough fight for me playing as Frankie Edgar. Sandhagen, that reach advantage is huge, man. I know I just realized that playing a video game, and I know it's billed as Sandhagen with a 70-inch reach and Edgar with a 68. It's going to be a bigger reach advantage for Corey Sandhagen. Trust me, it's going to be. He's 5'11", Edgar's 5'6". How does Sandhagen win this fight? Keeps the fight standing. If he stuffs a couple takedowns, he's gonna win this one. I know he's a big favorite. I don't think he should be that big of a favorite, but if he stuffs a couple, he's gonna win the fight. Gotta keep his distance against Frankie. If he doesn't allow Frankie to get close, get inside on this one, land those short punches, Sandhagen's gonna win. Kind of like what he did to Marques, because that was a dominant performance over Marlon Marques. Sandhagen looks good, man. He really does. But again, the Aljo fight, you might say Sandhagen. Is it just Aljamain Sterling so good, or will Sandhagen struggle against these guys who are really good grappling guys? And I know it's kind of different because Edgar's more of just a pure wrestler than a grappler, and Aljo's different, right? He's really good in transitions, really good at taking back and stuff, right? But if Edgar can just land a couple takedowns, man, it's a 3-round fight. It's a 3-round fight. You're gonna get a different approach out of Frankie Edgar in this one. I know he's kind of a late starter sometimes, but if he starts early in this one, just lands a takedown really damn early, he might be able to keep Corey Sandhagen down and just steal a couple rounds. The 3-round fight, only got to win 2 and win this one. But then again, Corey Sandhagen just could knock him out in the first round or the second round, kind of like what Ortega and Zombie did. Yeah, it's a good one, man. I don't know. And again, it's Edgar at 135. It's a new Frankie Edgar. Also, I mean, Corey Sandhagen, really damn good as well. I mean, the striking and the reach advantage. Oh my goodness, this should be the main event. I'm sorry, Overeem and Volkov. This should be the main event. I really like to see this in 5 rounds. But my prediction, though, I am going with the answer. Oh my goodness, I'm probably like the only person on this damn site picking Frankie Edgar, but I'm doing it. I think Frankie Edgar's gonna win this one. Now, could it just be me? I'll be honest, I've been a fan of Frankie Edgar for a long damn time, and I think he's got the skills necessary to win this one. I think he's going to close distance. He's got to avoid the big power shots from Corey Sandhagen. He's got to avoid the kicks that Sandhagen does throw. He throws a lot of leg kicks, a lot of good body shots as well, and of course, I mean, I guess we'll point out, he throws a really nice wheel kick, as we saw in the Marques fight, but I think part of that, man, is just Marques' chin's kind of gone at this point. I think Marques, I'm sorry, I hate saying it, but I think Marques is kind of the latter end of his career at this point. I think Frankie Edgar's not. I think Edgar's still one of the guys, man. He's one of the main guys at the weight class. I think a couple takedowns is going to do it for Frankie Edgar. He doesn't have to edge out a long decision this one. He doesn't have to grind out a big decision this one. He doesn't. He's just got to win 2 of these 3 rounds. I think he's going to do it, man. So I think it happens. I think Sandhagen wins the first round, outstrikes Frankie Edgar. Edgar puts him down in the second round, obviously, with the takedown. Gets him again in the third round. Edgar wins rounds 2 and 3, and I think he wins the fight. It's such an interesting fight, though. Could end up so many ways. But again, the key for Edgar, and this is what I'm banking on, Edgar using his wrestling to his advantage, getting Sandhagen down. I know it's not easy feat. I know it's not easy at all to take Corey Sandhagen down. But if anyone's going to do it, man, it's going to be Frankie Edgar. So I'm going with the Frankie Edgar decision win. Give it to the answer and get this man a title shot with a victory, because we haven't talked about the winner of this fight is probably going to get a title shot. And I think with a win here, give me Frankie Edgar for the title. Let's do it. The answer is going to get it. He's like a plus 400 underdog. Let's go, baby. Frankie Edgar's going to get the win. So it is time. It is time for the main event of the evening. We've got Alistair Overeem taking on Alexander Volkov. It is a Demolition Man's final run, supposedly, for the title. And he's taking on Volkov. Can guarantee you one thing, we're getting a finish in this fight. We are. I mean, both these guys get knockouts. It's a good one, man. It's one of these fights. I mean, oh man. All right, let's start here with Alexander Volkov. Record 32-8. He's been fighting for a damn long time, just like Overeem. But last win for Volkov, very good winning for Walt Harris. Works the body a lot in that fight and gets him with a front kick to the body. Kind of like the Anderson Silva, I mean, basically. It's like the Anderson Silva kick to Vitor Belfort, if it's the simplest way I'm going to explain it. The kick that Silva caught Belfort with, that was basically Volkov to Walt Harris. He caught him with straight in the body. Boom, like, just, it was a tremendous body shot. Put him away, UFC 254. Very good win for Alexander Volkov, right? Before that, the Curtis Blades fight, you just got out-wrestled in that fight. You're not going to see wrestling in this fight. I know Alistair Overeem kind of did that to Augusto Sakai. He kind of got him to the ground multiple times in that fight. It's not going to happen. This fight is going to be a stand-up fight, so I don't expect that. I know Overeem's wrestling is kind of underrated because that's what he did to Jairzinho for the first 4 rounds in that fight until he got KO'd. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I've talked about that same Overeem Jairzinho fight a lot on the channel, but I don't anticipate Volkov having to go on the ground in this fight, like the Curse Blades fight. I don't think that's going to happen. The Greg Hardy win, say what you want about Greg Hardy, it was a good win for Volkov. I know Hardy just lost to Marcin Tybura, but Greg Hardy, he's a top 15 fighter, I would say that. I think Tybura is a good number 13. I would say Greg Hardy's like number 15. I think Greg Hardy's not that bad. Marcin Tybura kind of gave away the secrets on how to beat him, though, but that's a topic for another day, right? So Volkov beats Greg Hardy, loses to Derek Lewis. He was winning that fight until the last 10 seconds. That one gets caught the big overhand right. And yeah, Derek Lewis says he did it for Donald Trump because Donald Trump called him to get one over on Vladimir Putin. Oh my goodness, that was a tremendous Derek Lewis interview, like all Derek Lewis interviews. By the way, he's fighting Curse Blades in a couple weeks. I am pumped for that fight. Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. But yeah, so Volkov before that beats Verdum, beats Struve, beats Roy Nelson. We're talking a long time ago at this point now, and Timothy Johnson. Those are his first 4 fights in the UFC. What do we know about Volkov? He's a tremendous striker. He uses his kicks to his advantage. Hell, the dude is 6'7". He's Drago. He's 6'7", he's got an 80-inch reach, and he knows how to use it. He really does, except for the Derek Lewis fight where he just threw a kick, left both of his hands down his side, got caught a couple times, and then eventually got finished. But for the most part, he knows how to use his reach to his advantage. Look at the Walt Harris fight. He did it perfectly with his kicks. He set it up the entire fight, and he finally got him with that kick that he was looking for the entire fight. The kick straight to the body. It worked. Tremendous victory there. And again, I can't stress that enough. He looked very good in the Walt Harris fight. That's what he's got to do against Overeem, though. Basically, it's the same game plan against Walt Harris. You got to do that to Overeem. And I know that Overeem's chin has been questioned at times, but Overeem's chin, to be honest, has held up recently. It really has. Augusto Sakai fight, he took some shots in that fight. Same with the Walt Harris fight. He got rocked in the first round, got knocked down in the first round, ends up winning the fight. Right? It is the Reem's last run, but it has to go through Volkov. And that's Alexander Volkov. Let's talk about Alistair Overeem. And Alistair Overeem's last win, good win over Augusto Sakai. Really good win for him. He got the job done by TKO in the 5th round, but it was a complete domination. You knew where that fight was going to end up. You knew Overeem was going to win it. He eventually got the finish in the 5th, so a good one there, right? Walt Harris win, yeah, he got rocked in the first round. He comes back. Walt Harris just keeps trying to punch out Overeem early in the first. Overeem flips it, gets on top. Eventually gets the fight standing, rocks Walt Harris twice, puts him away in the 2nd round. Good win for Overeem. I mean, he was down in that fight. Eventually comes back and wins it, right? The Jairzinho fight, I talked about this like 10 times at this point. Overeem was winning the fight, out-wrestled him, and again, Overeem's wrestling is very underrated because he's good on the ground, honestly. He controlled Jairzinho for 5 rounds, and that's why I'm kind of scared for Jairzinho in the Cyril Gane fight, because that's what Gane can do. He's really good on the ground, right? But Overeem held him down, and then with 5 seconds left, he got caught with the right, just a right, and he went down. Honestly, he got back up, and Jairzinho kind of walked away. I know you kind of have to stop the fight because of the lip, but honestly, Overeem was still in the fight. He was still knew where he was and everything. I think that fight should have went, though. 4 more seconds, Overeem wins the decision. Jairzinho just wins the last round, right? So maybe even a 10-8 just because of the visual with the lip. But if Overeem wins that fight, he's on a 5-5 winning streak because he beat Alexei Oleinik and he beat Sergey too before that. So Overeem's on a roll, man. He is on a roll right now. It is his quest to get to the title. And currently, right, he is a top fighter at the weight class. I mean, there's not much you can say because Overeem has fought everyone. He has fought so many damn times, and he has fought everyone there possibly is to fight at this point, right? He's currently 47-18. And if you want me to be honest with you, I think the run continues. I think Overeem outstrikes Alexander Volkov in this fight. He closes the distance, given both of them have an 80-inch reach advantage, but Volkov's a lot damn taller. But Overeem's 6'4". I think Overeem's going to be able to close the distance in this one. I think he's going to be able to get inside. I think he's going to be able to land some hard punches on Volkov. And I know Volkov is very tough in there. He took some bombs from Derek Lewis, and he's stayed in the fight for a while until the 3rd round. Of course, he was winning that fight. But I think that Overeem's going to be able to get the job done. It's going to be a close fight. Definitely, I can see a knockout for both guys. I don't anticipate it going past the 3rd round. I really don't. But I think Overeem's got what it takes, man. And I think this run for the title, he's all in on this last run. And I think it's going to continue here tonight. Overeem currently the number 5 ranked heavyweight for Alexander Volkov. He's number 6. Win here for Volkov, man. Or Overeem. It puts him in a weird spot because you're kind of just waiting. Hell, I think the winner of this fight fights the winner of Jairzinho and Cyril Gane. It's the way to go from here. Let's get it going, man. I think Alistair Overeem gets the job done. I'm going to say knockout second round for Alistair Overeem. I'm so excited, though. It's going to be a good fight. And folks, thank y'all for watching this hour 13-minute long video here on the channel with Alexander Volkov and Alistair Overeem, and also Corey Sandhagen and Frank Edgar. I'm so pumped for this card. 14 fights. The UFC is back after a week off, and of course it is on the eve of the Super Bowl, and then tomorrow night, be it on Saturday, on Sunday night now, then we get Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I know it's an MMA video, but oh my goodness, I'm so pumped for the Super Bowl. What a weekend we have in store, folks, and damn, what a 14-fight card. So, folks, thank y'all for watching this preview and predictions. If you have not yet, make sure to subscribe button down below for more UFC here on the channel. Also, hit a like button if you did like the video. And hey, if you disagree with anything that I said in this video, please leave it in the comment section down below. I will be happy to talk MMA with anyone. It's always fun. Because everyone's, of course, got different opinions with fighters, and it's such a good card, too, and there's so many fights that could go either way. Again, I think the Corey Sandhagen, Frank Edgar pick might be a little bit controversial, but still, it's a good one. So, folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to subscribe button down below for more, and Mamba forever.